POV! The puzzle is almost complete, but you're missing that one freaking piece. Well, actually, they're also missing Bosnia here. I hate to break this to you, but you're probably never gonna get that piece. But don't feel bad, it's not just the European Union. It's also NATO, they can't get Switzerland to join. This person is offering Austria, France, Italy, just anything for Switzerland to join the EU. They're just so neutral. Ukraine to Israel after it was boomed by Iranian drones. Yeah, they've been dealing with that for a couple years now. You and I are not so different. NATO asks Ukraine, who's your favorite? Aw, sweetie, I love you both equally. It's you, and by a lot, they say to Israel. I think this is probably one of those rankings that shift every once in a while, though. The UK, France, Saudi Arabia, the USA, and Israel all huddled together. Here comes Iran. I've launched drones to destroy Israel. Okay, big thumbs up there. The matter is concluded. Thank you for the warning there. They just go back to normal. China, who's about to lock US tech companies out of their market. But then here's the US also raising tariffs on hundreds of billions of worth of Chinese imports. China responding by raising tariffs on US imports. The US responding to that by sanctioning Chinese tech companies, preventing them from purchasing components vital to their business. Okay, this is where we are right now. Now here goes China attacking Taiwan, who manufactures 50% of the global semiconductors. But then here goes the US Death Star attack, sanctioning all Chinese banks, rendering them basically insolvent. I'm really hoping the kids in history class 50 years from now aren't studying this meme. Again, I would like to not do WW3. On the Turkish lira, Ataturk smiles at you for being wealthy. Meanwhile, if you're poor, he doesn't even look in your general direction. Wait, so did they do this on purpose? That's actually a pretty cool design, I have to say. Isn't 200 lira like $1 though? Oh, no, make that 6. We love Israel from Turkey. No, we don't, with the Palestinian flag. Ah, the duality of man, or at least the duality of a nation. Russia is extremely concerned about the rising tensions in the Middle East. Meanwhile, these five, okay there, buddy, refuses to elaborate further. Thanks for that input, though. Needed that. America asks Canada, who's your favorite ally? We already know where this is going. Oh, I love you both equally. It's you, and by a lot. Oh, I thought that was the UK for a second. No, I thought they pulled a fast one on us. No, but this is like the least surprising thing. In terms of the military topic, I think we definitely prefer Australia. We've literally fought side by side for more than 100 years together. The big difference between the two is Canada did not join us over in NAM. Maybe that's why we lost. In the UK, doctors saying, I can help you in 38 months. In Canada, the doctors say, oof yourself. Meanwhile, in France, they say, that'll be $5. France has recently announced they will fine patients €5 for missing appointments. It's a proposed penalty, but it is criticized by doctors' unions and patient groups. With all the problems we have with healthcare here in the US, it's kind of just hilarious to see this is what France is arguing about. Fine me $5 if I miss an appointment, but I want that healthcare. Just in general, I want that healthcare. Bro, the Egyptian god's family tree is literally this. Well, it's fine right here until we get to, nut and just these lines. I'm very concerned about these lines considering they whatever. Yeah, this tree is perfect metaphor for that whole situation. Funny thing is, Greece has a similar thing going on, especially with Zeus. In English literature, I will die for honor. In French literature, I will die for love. In American literature, I will die for freedom. Finally, there's Russian literature. Well, it's just okay, it's a lot more simple. I expected nothing less from Russian literature. All right, get out of here. Get lost. You're fired. Go on, scram. Here goes all the names for Germany in different languages. Except you stay. Deutsche. The only one that even comes close to the actual German name for their country. Deutsche pretty much sounds like Japan's version of Deutschland. We've seen eclipses on Earth, so here's an eclipse from Mars. Remember that Mars has 2 very oddly shaped moons? Humiliating. Look at this poop. Yet another massive W for Earth. Seriously, is Mars even trying? Common Mars L. A constitutional amendment in 1893 aimed to rename the United States of America the United States of Earth. The United States of Earth? It was proposed by a U.S. representative from Wisconsin, believing that the entire world would be part of the USA empire eventually. I mean, while we're at it, why stop at Earth? What about the United States of the Milky Way galaxy? Might be only a matter of time. Japan gives DC 250 cherry trees. It's meant to honor the U.S. 250th birthday in 2026. Dear benevolent overlord, please take sacred cherry trees for a future birthday. Thanks, little dude. Japan, from hardcore enemies to lovers within like the last couple decades. Weird way to phrase it, but the similarities between the French as well as the Japanese. Extramarital affairs, smoking, superiority complex, okay, this is not where I thought this was gonna go. Finally, colonial power. Well, Japan was a former one, and France still kind of is. We'll see for how much longer, but this is the first time I've learned about this. So Japan is basically the French of Asia. That might be perhaps a step too far. It might trigger them to go imperial again. When I found out the Australian national anthem wasn't actually Down Under by Men at Work,
I thought you were bad.
I had the exact same revelation.
You ain't bad. You ain't nothing.
How disappointing. I would just like to remind them there's still time to change it. Anime opening. I'm trying to think of that one. What is that? Meanwhile, my dumb A pretending to know the lyrics was literally just doing that right now. Oh, that translated Japanese is very interesting. The Virgin Monarchies versus the Chad Republics. Our monarchy was chosen by God. Meanwhile, 2/3 of the country is atheist. Listens to all the monarch speeches, although they never have anything to say. Too lazy to think for themselves. I think that one's specifically going to Spain. Too weak to say no. Gladly pays taxes to sustain His Royal Highness 20 estates and hunting grounds. This is how they used to take you out if they didn't like the stuff you were saying. It was a hunting accident. Wants someone to represent the nation, then chooses the most out-of-touch feudal lord to do it. When their freedom, through the sheer pity of their masters, makes fun of the US celebrity culture without a hint of irony. Probably the most offensive of them all, ruler isn't even from the country. They are pretty mixed between each other, aren't they? Finally, as for the Chad Republics, took the Enlightenment to its illogical conclusion. Let the mighty tremble before the people's might. Actually focuses on relevant issues. The people were sovereign, won their freedom through fire and steel, take freedom and equality seriously, and sleep soundly at night knowing some disinherited noble mongrel somewhere is seething and waiting to return onto the throne. It will never happen though. For Austria, that's not the case. There's still a Habsburg on Twitter just chilling. Viva la revolution. We bow before no one, no gods or kings, just men. Our leaders might be criminals and morons, but they are criminals and morons. This is a really good point that throughout most of history, this would be the biggest divider of this continent. It's funny how restricted it is to just this side. And there's actually some very interesting history that explains why that is, but yeah. Most adorned Swedish church versus least adorned Italian church. And this just goes back to the old debate, Catholicism versus Protestantism. It's not quite as flashy over here, yes. Meanwhile, in Norway, there's just like pagan stuff outside their churches. New survey from Austria. If Austria should be attacked militarily, should other EU member states support Austria militarily? 72% say yes. Should Austria, in case of an armed attack on an EU member state, support this attack with armed troops? 13% say yes. A little bit of a divide there. So Austria wants help if they're being attacked, but if another member of the EU is being attacked, they ain't gonna return the favor. Alright, let's remember that. French diplomacy for literally 1,000 years. Our friendship is built on our mutual distrust of England. Say what you want about the Napoleon movie, but they did get this line right. Crazy they finally put that rivalry aside, kind of, as of recently. Northern Europe with sausages cooked over open fire. Meanwhile, Southern Europe with worm cheese. What is this? Worm cheese? I feel like I'm really open to trying a whole lot of different foods, but this one is gonna be rough. The world's most dangerous maggot. Oh, my stomach is turning. Yeah, Sweden, it's probably best not to bring that up. Wow, the Alps are so majestic. Yeah, growing up here must be amazing. Average alpine childhood experience. Dad, I'm begging you. We've been walking for 6 hours. Can we go home? Shut the frick up. I actually think this is kind of a universal dad trait. It's just when dads have access to the Alps, they're gonna force you to do it way more and for way longer. Thank goodness I didn't grow up there. Girl, if your height starts with a 5, don't text me. Meanwhile, Dutch people who are 5 meters tall. Maybe the women are actually trying not to date anyone that's that tall. They don't want basketball players. What if that? I'm just kidding. I'm coping. This is why I can't go to the Netherlands. Like, I'm not trying to get mogged by literally every citizen. Kosovo is Serbia. Taiwan is China. Ukraine is Russia. This reply, Kosovo is Mongolia. Taiwan is Mongolia. Ukraine is Mongolia. Finally, so is Israel, apparently. If you disagree, you're, okay. It's crazy that the Mongolians don't just claim all that land back. I mean, technically, I don't know what's stopping them. Me when they speak bad about the Empire of Mexico. Also me when they speak bad about the Empire of Spain. This is such a funny combination. I feel like Mexico's natural state is to not really like Spain, unless you're from the US or another European country talking bad about the Spanish Empire. Then the spirit of Cortez is going to be respawned inside of millions. Arab countries? guys, asks Israel. Who do you despise more? We freaking despise you both, sweetie. Oh no, Israel's walking away. It's you, and by a lot, to Iran. Oh, this is one of those memes you don't want to win. Well, I guess we're gonna kind of see. That's gonna be interesting. Stop sending air defense, screams Russia. You know what? I'm gonna send air defense even harder. Cut to Germany sending additional Patriot system to Ukraine. And I don't think it's gonna stop there. Congrats, Muscovy. You've won a brand new car. Now, just go ahead and start it. Oh no, something tells me this Ukrainian might also be from Ireland. I would be careful starting a new car from them. I love that the creator of Winx Club is just like some middle-aged Italian guy. Winx Club. This is, honestly, it feels like I'm gonna read an article about how this man married a virtual character. How have I totally missed out on this? Or maybe that's a good thing. Meanwhile, in an alternative universe, we have the nation of Balkany, which is all united, and then we have a very divided, formerly known as Italian Peninsula. Or I guess it's still the Italian Peninsula, it's just really divided. And what's funny about this is actually historically, this is kind of what this part of the map looked like, except this was controlled by the Ottomans and it was kind of united, and Italy didn't unify until like 150 years ago. It was really split up by all these different powers. Serbs still getting coastline. Going to Italy on holiday versus actually living there. I kind of got a little piece of this myself, actually visiting the countryside, and yeah, it was a little bit depressing, I will say. It didn't feel like there was anybody there. And big thanks to my patrons this month.
Drew, je suis ton père de retour avec le lait, regarde dehors.
DOOCHBAGGINS, Amateur Archaeology, Carmel Saida, Tambre, Edward, Fredrik Tibblin, InquisitorXarius, DaBeautiful-MEGAN-Underwood, JohnDenver, KirinoIsBestGirl, The Mexicans, 7 and ZaneyBoi.